Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our first summer webinar featuring enhancements to timesheet and absence entry coming in September 2026. Thank you for attending. This is the first of 3 time and attendance webinars being held this summer. Our audience today is time and labor and absence administrators. As many of you hopefully know, the Cardinal system is undergoing a significant functional upgrade, and there are substantial changes and enhancements to timesheet and absence entry. We are showing these to you early so you can begin to consider what adjustments your agency will need to make as a result of these changes. This audience is also invited to the second time and attendance webinar on August 12th, which focuses on the new Work Center feature. Invitation to this webinar will be sent later this week. The third time in attendance webinar, which will be held in late August, will present much of the same information you will see today, but will be directed at our TA and absence supervisors and timekeepers. All job aids and training courses are being updated to reflect the new upgraded environment. This includes our administrator training courses, as well as our ESS 392 Time and Attendance Employee Self-Service course. Additional resources are also planned to help your agency users transition to the upgraded environment. For today's webinar, I'll give you a quick overview of the upgrade project. I'll then turn it over to Kranti Natuba, who will review the new time and attendance tiles, as well as the changes to the timesheet layout. He'll also show you some great new features in the time and attendance module. Susie Hilton will then review the enhancements to absence management. At this point, when she begins her presentation, if you work for an agency that does not use Cardinal Absence Management, feel free to leave the webinar as this information does not pertain to you. Of course, you're also welcome to stay, especially if your agency may consider using Cardinal Absence Management in the future. Before I turn it over to Kranti for a deep dive into the time and attendance module, let me tell you a bit about the upgrade project. The Cardinal team is enhancing both Fin and HCM, upgrading these applications to the latest PeopleSoft releases. We started the project in September 2025 and plan to go live with the upgraded system on September 8, 2026. The upgrade includes over 1,400 enhancements aimed at improving the user experience and overall system functionality. Today is the first webinar in the series, and each webinar is designed to help you become familiar with many of the new features of the upgrade.
All right. Go ahead, Susie. Susie wants to level set something for us.
Hey, good afternoon. Susie Hilton here, and I'm on the TA team, and I'm so glad that you all joined us this afternoon. Just as a reminder, level set why we're here today, we are here to demo a preview of the enhancements and some of the changes. For the most part, things aren't changing. A lot of the things are staying exactly the same. The same reports are available, the same queries are available. None of that is changing. Something else that's not changing is how things are processed. Time and absences are being processed the same in Cardinal today, and they'll continue to be processed the same in the future. Some of the enhancements that we're demoing today for the timesheet and for absence management are some of the things that are changing that are just look and feel changes, navigation changes. But as far as the data that needs to be entered for time and absences, that's all going to be the same. It's just where on the page you'll find that. So these are just really, we're focusing on the enhancements. So if we're not highlighting it today, you could almost assume that nothing is changing for that.
And now I'm going to turn it over to Kranti.
Thank you, Dana. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kranti Natuba, and I'm your time and attendance module lead for Cardinal. Before we begin, I just want to take a moment to thank you. A big thank you, because when Cardinal first went live, time and attendance had one of the highest ticket volumes because we support so many self-service users. But for more than 2 years now, we consistently had one of the lowest ticket volumes across HCM. And this does not happen just because of the TA team alone. It happened because of all of you, how strong our agency user group is. You have supported your employees, you have guided your supervisors, resolved issues quickly, and helped prevent many questions from even becoming tickets. So today, as we are preparing for the September upgrade, we are asking for the same partnership again. And our goal is simple here, no surprises to you on day one. As we prepare for this September upgrade, you will notice changes to some pages, navigations, and functionality. Today's session is designed to familiarize you with those changes before go live. So you will know what to expect and be prepared to support your agencies. Our goal today isn't to teach every click or every business scenario. Instead, we will focus on the key enhancement, explain what's changing, show you how those changes will look like in the upgraded future experience. Later in today's presentation, we'll also have a live demo where we'll compare the current experience with the upgraded future experience so that you can clearly see what's changing. With that, let's begin by looking at one of the first things users will notice after signing into Cardinal. So the new homepage with the new time and attendance styles. So one of the first things you will notice after signing into Cardinal is the addition of these new time and attendance styles. Today, I'll briefly introduce each of these styles so you will know what they are and how they will be used after the upgrade. The first style is the Time and Attendance Work Center, the TA Work Center. The Work Center provides a centralized location for many of the tasks that administrators and supervisors can perform on a regular basis. And today's presentation is simply an intro to this new tile. We will take a much deeper look at Work Center during our August 12th webinar, where we will demonstrate its features and discuss how it can support your day-to-day activities. The second tile is the delegation style. Delegations provide users with a centralized location to create, manage, and review your delegations. And like the Work Center, delegations will also be covered in much greater detail during our August 12th webinar. Today's objective is simply to introduce to these new tiles and make you aware that they are available after the upgrade. And the third tile is the My Team Time tile. And this enhancement is a result of the feedback we received from the agencies. One of the requests we heard from you was to provide supervisors with access to both their direct and indirect reports from a single location. So after the September upgrade, My Team tile will provide that capability. Although supervisors will have their own webinar before go live, some supervisors may still reach out to their admins with questions. So I wanted to make sure you're familiar with this enhancement so you will understand what has changed and how it supports your supervisors. And one quick note before we continue, if your agency uses its own timekeeping system and interfaces time to Cardinal, and you are an interface administrator and you are set up as a reports to supervisor, the new My Team tile may not be as relevant for you since you already can access your employees through the existing team time tile. So those are the new time and attendance styles that will be available after the upgrade. Next, we'll look at the pages the employees will see after clicking the time tile on the homepage. This is the time tile over here that the employees are going to click. We want to make sure you understand everything that's changing for an employee too, so you are ready to answer any questions on day one in September. So this is the time tile pages. Before we look at these pages, I would like to make another clarification. Some of the pages here are specific to agencies that use Cardinal Absence Management. So if your agency does not use Cardinal Absence Management, those absence management pages won't apply to you. The time and labor enhancements we'll discuss today apply to everyone. So and I'll point out when a page is specific to Cardinal Absence Management. You will notice there are quite a few pages. For this overview, I'm simply going to introduce these pages under this time tile that will be available in the upgraded future experience in September. Later during the live demo, we'll compare the current experience with the future experience so you can clearly see what has changed and understand how users will navigate after the upgrade. So let's briefly look at each of these pages. Employees can continue entering time, reviewing their time summary, and view their time exceptions from the first 3 pages. Employees will also have access to enter time by day and payable time. These are providing additional options for entering time and reviewing them. And for agencies using Cardinal Absence Management, the page label is changed, but the leave and comp time page continues to be available. Employees can submit absence requests, request absence cancellations, and review previously submitted absence requests. And again, these pages apply only to the agencies that use Cardinal Absence Management. Employee can review their absence balances and access the comprehensive absence summary page. And one more time, these apply specific to agencies who use Cardinal Absence Management. Approval Monitor. This is a new page, provides users with a centralized location where they can review the status of time and absence approvals. Now that we have looked at the pages available from the time tile, let's move into what will probably be the most noticeable change for all employees, which is the redesigned timesheet. The redesigned timesheet or the new timesheet is one of the most significant visual changes introduced. I would like to highlight some of the key changes you will see on the redesigned timesheet. This will probably be the most noticeable change included in the September upgrade. I want you all to look at the screen. If you're not already looking at your computer, just listening to me, please do take a look at this timesheet because this looks very different. Over the next few slides, I will introduce some of the key changes you will see. Let's begin with this overall layout of the new timesheet. One of the first things users will notice after opening a timesheet is its updated appearance. I mean, while the layout looks different, the purpose of the page hasn't changed. Employees will still enter and submit their time as they do today. What's changed is just how they enter information. The timesheet opens to a weekly view by default, allowing users to see the entire week. One big enhancement here is the page refreshes automatically. So if the user changes the view by option or selects a different date, the page refresh automatically. You no longer need to manually refresh the page after making those selections. And during the live demonstration, you will see exactly how this works. The set view options. This next enhancement provides users with additional options that are not currently available for navigating the timesheet. The view by drop-down allows users to choose how much information that has to be displayed. So in addition to the default weekly view, users can switch to bi-weekly, monthly, or by your pay period, which is the period view, depending on how they prefer to review or enter their time data. Across the top of the page, users can quickly move between weeks by selecting the previous and the next arrows. If they want to jump directly to a specific date, they can simply select the calendar icon instead of moving through the calendar 1 week at a time. And as I said, there is no refresh button here. So the page refreshes as you change the dates. You will also notice the 3 dots for more options. These 3 dots for more options. These 3 dots are now going to be available in a lot of pages. So just pay attention to these 3 dots. These 3 dots provide some additional functionality, and these are called related actions. These are new. You will see it in a lot of new pages. So anywhere you see these 3 dots, you can click on it. It opens up what related actions you could do there. So this is a new concept. This related action menu here provides quick access, like including save for later, or you can request absence from here. So the commonly used functions are grouped together in these related actions. And we will demonstrate each of these options during the live demo. Now let's look at the changes users will notice when they actually begin entering time. The first change is that the time reporting code, or the TRC, is now located at the beginning of the timesheet row. This places one of the most commonly used fields at the start of the time entry process, and it makes it easier to identify the type of time being reported. Another change is it now starts with a single row. When additional rows are needed, users can simply select the plus button and add another row, or the minus button to delete a row. So instead of displaying multiple unused rows by default, the page expands only when additional entries are needed. You can click the plus button, so it adds new rows, and it's now at the beginning of the timesheet grid. You will also notice the new status bar. This status bar provides a visual indicator showing where the recorded hours for a day, if they are below the scheduled hours, above the scheduled hours, or equal to the scheduled hours. This gives the users an immediate feedback as they enter the time, making it easier to identify potential issues before submitting their timesheet. The next feature we have is the approval monitor page. So from the time tile here at the end, you have the approval monitor page. So this is a brand new page that provides users with additional visibility into the approval process. Approval Monitor provides users with a centralized location where they can review the status of their time and absence approvals. In the current experience, users often have questions such as, has my request been approved? Who is my request waiting on? Is it still pending? Approval Monitor helps answer these questions. It's going to allow users to view approval information from one single page. Rather than navigating to like multiple pages or contacting an admin for a status update, users can review approval information themselves. This provides a greater visibility into where a request is within the approval process. We'll take a closer look at how this works on the next slide. So Approval Monitor allows users to search based on these criteria fields. You can put dates, type in. The employee ID field is grayed out if you are accessing this page through the time tile as a self-service employee. You can change the approval type, you can filter out by approval status, and you can search for them, and it will give you the results. So this, if you see these fields change based on the approval type you have selected. The headers say absence name and TRC description. It shows the transaction date. It shows the approval status and approver ID, the name, email address, and their phone number. Now that we have completed this overview of the enhancements, we would like to show you a live demo of this redesigned timesheet. Let me log in to show you the new changes. Before I start, I want you to take a look at this new homepage and look at the color of this bird here. It is the green color. So I'm going to switch screens, show you future experience versus the current experience. So this bird color is going to help you to understand whether we are in the future experience environment or in the current test environment. So we are using a test environment to show this to you. This is the upgraded homepage. Let me go back and log in into the current test environment. This is the current homepage. So if you see the color of the bird here, it's blue. So if I'm switching tabs, you can notice that when the color is green, it's the new environment. So as I said, if you see here, there are some additional new tiles. There is the TA Work Center tile, and I'm only talking about time and attendance tiles. There is a TA Work Center tile. There is this My Team Time tile. There is this delegation style. These are the three new tiles on the homepage. That's the biggest change for the TA users. Again, what you see is based on the security access you have to the system. Not every user's homepage is going to look the same. It depends on what access you have. If you are a supervisor, you might not have team time anymore. You will have My Team Time. But if you are an admin and a supervisor, then you will have both team time and My Team Time. For all self-service employees, they will not have access to any of these tiles that the core users are going to access, like it's are a team time or My Team Time. The self-service employees are going to have access to just this time tile. So let me click on this time tile to show how different it is, what new pages they can see in the future. Remember, this is a green bird, so this is in the future experience where you are going to see new additional pages. But if I go back and click on the time tile here in the current world, you don't have that many. So let me try to move this next to it so you could see the difference between these two. This is what you have right now. So if you can clearly see, it's no longer the label's called timesheet. It's called Enter Time. The time summary page looks a little different, but the label hasn't changed. The exceptions label, the view exceptions labels changed now to exceptions. The Enter Time by Day is a new page that you currently do not have, which I'm going to talk about this page and show it to you. Payable time is the same. The leave balances, the labels changed. It's leave/comp time. And there are a bunch of new pages: manage absence, cancel absence. The view request remains same. The absence balances and comprehensive absence summary is the same. And then we have this new approval monitor page. And again, I just want to remind you, if you are an interfacing agency, your self-service employees might not log in to see timesheet data. So all of this might not even apply to you. But I still want you to get familiarized with all of this in case if they come into Cardinal to review their read-only timesheets. And agencies that do not use Cardinal Absence Management, your employees might not even see all of these, so it might not even apply to you. So, but we still want you to understand that what's available in the new future upgraded experiences, you have more pages available. So now let's just go through this first one, which is the enter time, the timesheet page. Let's take a look at the current timesheet page. Right now, as I said, it defaults to 3 rows. You see the time reporting code is over here. It's not at the front. If you have to add new rows or delete rows, you have to go all the way down, right? All the way here to add or delete rows. Now, the view by. I'm going to go through each one of them one by one. I think let's start with this time reporting code and where you can add and delete rows. So in the new environment, you only see 1 row. This is your future experience where employees will only be seeing 1 row by default. Time reporting code is at the beginning. You could add or delete rows here. You do not have to move it all the way to add or delete new rows. So one change is here, when you move, the bar is at the bottom, whereas here it's on the top. So only the timesheet grid is moving, rest of the page is not. So that's one difference. And some of these changes were done to make sure that these pages can also be accessed from mobile devices if possible. And time could be entered from there. That's the reason why the page is designed this way, while where the grid itself is only moving. The rest all remain same. The fields here remain the same. What you see currently, this is the current world. You see these fields, the same fields are going to exist, the same functionality. Another change is this chart fields page. If I click on this page currently, you see how this page looks. It has a horizontal grid, but it looks different in the new world. In the future upgraded environment, when you click on the chart fields link, this page is going to look very different. It's no longer that long horizontal grid. It's this vertical chart field page. You can click on that one, search, and still enter that same speed type key. So the functionality and all still remains the same. It's just the way how this page looks is very different. And again, it's designed this way so you could use your mobile devices to enter time. Now let me go back and show you the view by. So as I said, the view by biweekly, monthly period. There is no biweekly. If you go back to the current timesheet, this is the current timesheet. Your view by is here. You just have 3 options: calendar, period, day, week. Now, in the new world, in future, you're going to have all these options. You could switch to biweekly. You're an hourly employee and like entering time once for every 2 weeks. You could change that view by, and it shows week 1 of 2, and you can change them. And notice that there is no refresh button or anything. Monthly, it shows you 5 weeks. You can change it to period, and it shows you all the days in that pay period. So here it ends at 24th. So you can change that view by based on how you want to enter your time. That's one big change. The next one, as I said, there's no refresh button. The page is refreshing. So if you go to a previous week, come back here to the new week, you don't need to like every time hit that refresh button. That button's gone, and that's a cool new feature that it refreshes automatically. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the pattern that's showing up here. This will help you the status bar. Let me show you an example, right? Let me enter reg hours. So what you see here is 8 hours. Let me change this to view by week. So you can clearly understand. Let me start the timesheet Monday. And let me enter reg hours. So the 8 hours that is showing up here is the employee's scheduled work hours. So the employee's 5/8 scheduled work hours. So it's showing you that saying it's 0 of 8 have been reported. So you can enter hours, and as you enter hours, there's this blue bar that shows you how many hours you have reported. So it's giving you that visual to see, are you under your scheduled work hours or over your scheduled work hours? Let's say I change this to 10. You see an orange color. That is clearly indicating that you have reported something more than the scheduled work hours for that day. So this status bar is a clear visual representation of whether did you report more or did you report less than the scheduled work hours, and we think it's going to help the users to quickly find out if they have miskeyed something. Right? Now, let me show you the related actions. So this was the related actions. Here is the save for later. And you could also request absence. This is a change because I'm going to go back to our current environment and show you. The save for later button is here in the timesheet, but in the future world, you have to click that related action to get to that save for later. The submit button is here down on the timesheet, but in the new future experience, you have to click the submit button here on the top. So that's another change. So as you are listening to all of this, I want to make sure that you are taking some notes and thinking through to see if you have to change any of your internal training for your users. Is this a big change for your employees that they need to know about all of this and how you communicate to them? You want to make sure you're ready for all of the questions that you're going to get. We don't want people like calling you saying, I don't see the submit button, right? And you're like, I don't know where the submit button is. So we want to make sure that you all look at this page and understand what's really changing. So you're ready to answer those questions so they don't become tickets. The next thing I want to talk about is these 3 dots here. Another related action section, time summary, payable time. You can go from here if you want to, but these are like related to timesheet. So you have that option there. Add and view comments is another one. So let me show you. Let me do one thing. Let me add a comment. I'll add just a test comment. So do you see this new icon that shows up that there is a comment now, which is something that you do not have in the current experience. You cannot enter a comment here. It has to be submitted, and then once it's submitted, let me enter one and show it to you. You can go and add comments here. That's change. That's a change now. You can enter it here, and you can clearly see this icon that's saying that someone has entered a comment here. So you could go and check and see what that comment is. So as there are many things that show up. Let me click on this legend to show you what each of these icons mean, right? If there is a holiday, you would see this on the status bar. If it's a saved absence, it shows you this icon. So if there is an exception, so it's more user-friendly now. There are things that as soon as you go onto the timesheet on this weekly view, these things will help you understand as you get familiarized, maybe not on day one, but as you continue to use this new timesheet, you clearly understand that, oh, I haven't submitted a transaction by looking at this, or there is a holiday on that day, or there is an exception that got generated on that day. So it's giving you that clear visual to see either a warning or something's wrong with the timesheet. You will understand that. That is another change. These other things are same, which you still have employee ID. One other thing that I want to specify, which I don't have this employee with multiple jobs, but keep it in mind that in the current environment, let me go to this Bluebird. When you have two jobs, when you click on a timesheet, it doesn't take you to a timesheet. It will ask you, oh, for which job are you reporting this time for? But in the new future experience, it will default you to your primary job. Then right here, it will show you a link to say select another job. That is another change that you all must notice too. If someone has two jobs and they're not understanding where to go to enter time for their second job, it is a little different. The current experience, you will have to select before you look at the timesheet, but in the new world, it defaults to your primary job, and then you have to click on a link to take you to your secondary job. Or if you have more jobs, 3 jobs, you will get an option to select them here. So it switches to that timesheet. That is another change. Then one big important thing, which Susie is going to cover in detail, is this absence. Right now, you have an option to enter absences from here. There is no absence-related pages. When you click on the time tile here, you have to go to the timesheet. You have to enter absence from here. That's a change. You have new pages for that. Or you could use this related action.
While Kranti is getting back in, we're going to attempt to answer some of the many questions that have been coming in. So Jolene is going to ask them and Susie's going to provide some responses.
So we have seen a few questions come in related to, is this going to stay the same? Is that going to stay the same? And for the most part, those things are staying the same. So we're going to highlight a few of those through the Q&A, but I just wanted to kind of set your mind at ease a little bit. Everything isn't changing, but we are here to highlight just some of the great enhancements that we know that our end users, our employee self-service users are going to be excited to see. Some of the enhancements that we're highlighting today address some of the pain points that you have brought to our attention. I know Kranti mentioned some of those in his demo, and I'm going to be kind of drawing your attention to some of those when I do the absence piece here in a few minutes. So we'll go ahead and switch over to some of the Q&A, and Jolene's going to address those.
Yeah, also I want to just chat a little bit. There's been some questions around training and communications. And one of the reasons you're our first, out of the starting block webinars is because we want to get in front of you because we know you provide such excellent support to the end users. So I'll allow Dana to quickly refresh the training that's going to come out associated, as well as some of the communications, but it will be in conjunction with your agency. We're going to need to work together on this. And this is one of the reasons we're meeting with your group twice. First, to give you this timesheet overview so you can think about, as you have possibly some of your own training or internal materials that you need to update, that you're starting to prepare for that. And then we're meeting again on the 12th of August. So let me just give Dana a quick opportunity to talk about the training and communications again.
Yeah, thanks, Jolene. So as I mentioned at the beginning, and many of you may not have been on, but all of our job aids, all of our web-based training, our instructor-led training, all of it is being revamped as a result of the upgrade. Again, as Jolene said, because we know y'all will need to be thinking about changes for your agency, we did this one early. We have a new web page on our website that an upgrade web page where we're going to be posting lots of information. We are going to start posting our TA job aids, especially the administrator ones, so that you will have them readily available. We do not have them all ready, but as we get them completed, we will put them on our upgrade page. So just not to be confused, if you look at the regular job aids page, you'll find the job aids that exist as the system is today. But we're going to start sending out putting the other ones on the upgrade page so you have an early view of them. Somebody asked if we were going to make training mandatory. At this time, we are not planning to require folks to retake, for instance, ESS 392 training, but we're actually going to seek your guidance and feedback on that, which may, and some of your responses may help inform other actions we might take between now and go live, whether one-pagers would help you, something to have on the desk for day one, or anyway, so we're going to give you a chance to give us some feedback on that.
So let's get to some of those questions before we pivot back to Kranti, because we know we have limited time today here. So we have a couple of questions from PSB associated with the new slide bar, which is essentially showing 7 of 8 hours or 8 of 8 hours. Susie, can you tell me a little bit about how that will work for people who have alternate schedules, variable schedules?
Yes, sure. So that status bar is based on the assigned work schedule for the employee. So it's going to look a little bit different for an hourly employee versus an employee who has a variable schedule and someone who has a set work schedule. So that status bar is going to show that pattern for the hours that they are assigned that day. For a variable schedule employee, in Cardinal, their schedule is 24 hours a day. So theirs is going to show a pattern for 24 hours. That is going to display that 24 hours. For an hourly employee, they do not have a schedule in Cardinal that is like a set work schedule. So it doesn't show in Cardinal that they are scheduled to work 8 hours. So for them, it's not going to show any scheduled hours. So that pattern bar you won't see for your hourly employees, but once they enter hours, so if they enter 6 regular hours, then it is going to display as the blue.
All right, then we had a question from DOE about will supervisors be able to review chart fields before approving?
Yes, you'll be able to review the chart fields in the same way that you can review them today. One of those ways is the timesheet report. Another way is by clicking the chart fields link and viewing the chart field details that have been entered on the timesheet.
There was a question about if users could see the entire pay period at once.
So that is a change from what you can see today. When you select the view by period, it is going to display by the number of weeks that are in the period rather than showing it all on a long scroll bar. So you will have to use the next and previous buttons that Kranti was pointing out during the timesheet demo to go to the first or the second or the third week.
But you won't need to refresh it.
But you won't need to refresh. So that refresh icon is gone. Whenever the view by or the dates are updated or changed, the timesheet is going to automatically refresh.
Are salaried users be able to enter time on dates that they aren't scheduled to work?
So again, there's no change to that. They can enter those regular hours or overtime hours as appropriate on their day off. And also no change if they're scheduled to be off, they will not be able to take leave or enter an absence event on a scheduled day off. There's no change to that either.
So back to Kranti. I know he has a few more things to show, and then we can circle back to questions at the end.
Thank you, Jody and Susie. Back to this enter time by day page. This is a new page that's going to be available, and this is more mobile friendly. So you could use them on the small devices. Everything that's needed is available. That's on the timesheet, but it's just a 1-day view. You can change the days here, enter the time reporting code, the hours. Again, this chart fields might not apply for every agency. Some of the agencies don't use this. So if your agency uses chart field values, it's also available on this page. Again, this is the vertical view of the chart field page, the new page. That's all on this enter time by day page. So it's mostly used when people are entering time on a daily basis and they want to enter time through their mobile phones. This is the most user-friendly page that they could use. Now, let me show you the approval monitor page. This is the new page we're talking about. So you see the employee is defaulted, and you could put the from date, to date, select the approval type. It's going to be a new approval type called absence cancellation, which Susie is going to talk more about it when she does the demo and when she does her presentation. The different approval statuses, these change based on what approval type you have selected. And you can select a value and search, and this gives the results. I'm not going to do that now, but I just wanted to show you this new page that will help an employee find out if a transaction is in needs approval. It will tell you the approval status, the approver's details are here, so they can reach out to the approval. Back to the home page. Show you something else. Let me click on the team time tile now. Okay, we're not going to go into any more details again here. You see, you can access Work Center from here. This is again the future experience. You could click on the TA Work Center directly from this tile too, if you're an administrator. The pages are kind of the same pages that you have access through self-service, but this is not really for your own employee ID. This is more for you to go search. So the changes that you're going to see are some of the search pages have changed. The search page is going to look very different. Let me go to the current team time tile. See the timesheet. This is your current search page if you want to search for an employee. Here, this looks very different. You have a filter, which kind of gives you the same options that you can select and filter and look for your employees to enter time. So that's the biggest difference. The search pages are changing under this team time tile. The other additional new pages, which Susie is going to talk about again, but there you can search for your employees using these because these are not accessed through the self-service time tile. These are from the administrator's team time tile. We are going to go into a detailed explanation and a demonstration on the third webinar when we meet with the supervisors. We still want you to show this now, what's different, what's in this new My Team Time tile. Maybe I'll try to set up something and Susie's gonna demo. Here, if you have like multiple direct reports and indirect reports, the search page looks very different. You can search based on the team member's name or email, but it gives you your reports tools and there is links to get into indirect reports tools. That's the change, but you will know more in detail about this My Team Time in the third session. Those are the big changes on the time and labor side, and on the absence side, Susie's gonna show you all the changes. And please do make sure you note down all your questions. These questions are going to help us. Something that we might not have thought through, that's going to be an issue. You can bring that up to our attention. So it's going to help us. We might not have answers all of the questions today, but we want to make sure that you're asking those questions. So let me go on, which is the TA enhancement slide, new things which we're going to talk about. So the first enhancement here is the My Team Time tile. We'll show you with more detail about this tile in the third webinar. So what it's doing is this new team time tile, like it gives you access to both their direct and indirect reports too from a single location. So it's making it easier to manage and time their time and absences for not just for their direct reports, but also for their indirect reports. Now, another enhancement is the real-time absence forecasting, which Susie's going to cover in more detail. This is a cool new feature because people enter time absences retroactively, and then another absence becomes ineligible because they might have had balances and they're entering absences not in the correct sequential order. So you might have entered something for today and then go back and enter something for a month back, but but you only had 8 hours. So that will result in a pay docking right now when the nightly absence calc runs, and then it shows up on the pay docking report. This was one of the things that many agencies have reached out to us and asked them, like, this pay docking is an issue. The current process is not very user friendly, but with the new real-time absence forecasting, it gives you a pop-up message saying, hey, you entered something. Now that other leave that you have entered is no longer eligible. And Susie is going to give you a nice demo of all of that. But that's a cool new feature that's coming up in the upgraded environment. And the next enhancement is the employee context retained across team time pages, which I did not show this to you, demo this to you, but it's just that when you are switching between pages, let's say you are on a timesheet page, you suddenly want to go look at exceptions, or you want to go enter an absence. You're not going onto every page and trying to search for that employee ID now, because it's the same employee ID that you're trying to look at their exceptions, you're trying to enter their absences, or you're trying to look at their balances. That it does not make sense for you to like enter that same employee ID 4 times and search again. So one of the new things is that once you have searched on one of the pages for that employee as an administrator, that employee context is retained across pages. So as you switch between pages, you don't need to retype that employee ID. It's the same employee ID. Information is carried forward to the new pages. That's another new feature. Now the centralized delegation. So previously the delegations were managed at, especially this will be very helpful for your agency delegation administrator, who are also supervisors that are delegating their own approvals. And they are also acting as a delegation admin. There's like multiple navigations that you have to remember to, like, am I doing mine? Am I doing it on behalf of someone? Where do I go? That's all gone now. You have a tile, a centralized delegation tile. You can click on it and you can do all those tasks. I will explain more in detail about that tile and what's in that tile in August 12th session. And the next one is the enhanced reported time audit page. This is also another new page that's available now. It will give you more information. It will give the administrators a greater visibility into changes that have been made. It gives you a history of what, if an employee is changing the same timesheet multiple times, this page is very user-friendly, that it will show you all the history of who touched when, what got changed. So this is another new feature that's going to be available. The last one is the employee-initiated cancellation of leave. This is also another new feature, and I'm not going to get into more details because Susie is going to talk more about it when she is going to present. That's another new feature that employees can now cancel an approved leave. Moving on to the next slide. This is the mobile functionality. So the September upgrade also improves the experience for our users that are using Cardinal from mobile devices. The same time and attendance functionality you have seen throughout today is now presented on a layout that's better suited for the small screens. So users can continue performing common activities such as accessing the time tile from the homepage, entering time. There is that enter time by day page. So the enter time by day page, you could use that on a daily basis from your phone, enter your timesheet. You could view your absence balance immediately through the phone, through your mobile devices. So these improvements provide a more consistent experience, regardless of whether a user is accessing Cardinal from desktop or from a tablet or mobile device. The pages adapt and the users will not lose the functionality and can continue to use them. And that concludes the enhancements and the mobile functionality. I'm going to give you a summary one more time so you can make a note of this. We introduced new homepage styles. We reviewed additional pages that are available from the time and attendance style. We walked through the redesigned timesheet. We demonstrated the current experience alongside the upgraded future experience. We introduced a new approval monitor page. We highlighted several additional new enhancements that you will see after go live and the new mobile functionality. So I hope this session has helped you with these upcoming changes, understand these upcoming changes, and give you a better understanding of what exactly is going to happen in September. At this point, we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
We've had a few questions come in that we are responding to on the chat. But I think we do want to hand it over to Susie, who has some great information to show us before we get started. Susie, are you ready for some questions?
Yes.
Will the alerts be more noticeable for employees when they don't have enough time?
I'm going to be demoing that in our next session. So
All right.
hold for that one, please.
Foreshadowing. I love that. Is there anything in development that would allow employees to view their leave balances in real time?
Yeah, I'm going to also be demoing that in the next session. So I'm going to hold that.
Okay, that will keep you on, so you'll keep watching. Can something be done that the available time is shown to approvers to ensure the employee has the time to take under certain categories instead of being behind?
So processing is still working the same today as it will in the future. So what that means is the balances that are showing on certain pages are going to be as of the last finalized period. There are some places where you can view balances as of the last absence calculation process. That absence calculation process, as you're familiar with, runs every night. And so there are some places where you can see that. To get to your point of, where can they see the most current? That's what that forecast feature or check eligibility feature is for, because that shows you how many hours right then are available. So I'm going to demo that a little bit as well, but no changes really to how that process is working.
And so right before we turn our attention to absence management, we do want to point out that we do have a great new page on our website that's dedicated to the Cardinal Upgrade. Here you're going to find links to all of our upgrade communications. There's special videos and infographics, and the recordings and the presentation decks from our webinars will also be posted there. And of course, as I mentioned, we'll be putting out some of the job aids. Please bookmark this page, keep checking it regularly as we continue to add resources. And you'll also see this lovely QR code. We would love your feedback. As we mentioned, this is our first webinar. We would appreciate you taking a brief survey. You can scan the QR code on the slide to begin. And now I'm going to turn it over to Susie, who is going to walk you through the enhancements to absence management.
In this session, we're going to talk about some of the absence enhancements, and then I'm going to follow up with a live demonstration as well. For those of you who are TL admins at agencies that are not using Cardinal Absence Management, you could go ahead and drop, and we thank you so much for attending today, because the rest of this webinar doesn't apply to you. But if you are interested in seeing how absences are entered and handled in Cardinal Absence Management, then you are welcome to stick around. A lot of what we've talked about so far are look and feel changes, and that's going to be the same in absence management. You have several new pages available now that Kranti pointed out. We have the Manage Absence page, and this is where your employee self-service users are going to be able to enter absence events. As a TL administrator or a supervisor, you're also going to have access to a very similar page, Manage Absences. And we're going to go into more about that in that next webinar. But the page is going to look very similar, whether you're accessing it from an employee self-service user through the time tile, or if you're accessing it as an admin. A lot of the things are going to look very similar. So the first section here is going to display the last 3 absence events that have been entered, or the 3 most recently entered absences. They're going to be displayed in that first section. The next section is going to be where the employee will enter those absence details. And it's, like I said earlier, it's going to be all of the same details needed to enter an absence event in the future as it is today. So you're going to start with entering that start date, the end date, the absence name. The new button here is the apply absence. Once that button is pushed, then those additional details are going to be required, such as the reason and partial days. Those fields all open up. The comments field. So this is going to look very similar because all of these fields are the same fields that you are utilizing today. It's just tomorrow the layout is going, or sorry, in the future environment, the layout just looks a little bit different. Down here at the bottom, you have the balance information as of the last finalized period. So this is the same as it is today on the absence details page, where you see that balance information. But again, this is as of the last finalized period. One thing that you might notice that is a little bit different is we have this check eligibility button. So here is today what you're used to seeing in the current environment is the forecast button. And in the future environment, the button is check eligibility. But you're going to hear me refer to this a little bit interchangeably as forecasting and checking eligibility. And the reason for that is that it's when you click the check eligibility button, it is still forecasting the absence details that have been entered against the balances that are available in Cardinal. And it's still looking, the forecast feature is still working the same today as it's going to work in the future. So it's looking, when you click the check eligibility button, it's looking at all of the saved and submitted and approved absences that are there, whether they have been processed or not. So it's just the check eligibility button now, and then you can click the view eligibility details to see those forecast details as you're used to seeing them today. And I'm going to demo all of this too. So if you're feeling like that was a lot of information at once, we're going to jump into a demo in just a few minutes. The next page is the cancel absences page. And Kranti mentioned this a little bit earlier. The biggest change here is that this is a new page where users can go to cancel their absences. But the other big change here is that employees can now cancel those absences, whether they're in approved or needs approval status. In the current environment, the supervisor has to cancel those absences if they've already been approved. But in the future environment, the employees can cancel that. And I know that has been a pain point for many of our supervisors because they're then having to go in and do that work on behalf of their employees. But in the future environment, that will no longer be their responsibility, and the employees will be able to cancel these absences themselves. It's going to route the canceled absence to the supervisor. It's going to show in the approvals tile, just like when they submit an absence for approval, it's going to route to the supervisor. So the supervisor will get that notification that an absence has been canceled, and then they will need to approve that cancellation. And I'm going to demo that as well. So the cancel absence page is going to load with the absence events, and then they can just select the row for the absence event they want to cancel. It's going to open up to a details page where you're going to see those details that were previously entered. And the comments box is now opened up. This means that the employee can enter a comment. It's optional, not required. They can enter a comment for their supervisor, letting them know why this is being canceled, and then just click the cancel absence button. Once they click that cancel absence button, the cancel status is going to show as submitted, and the absence request is going to be submitted for cancellation. This is going to then be routed to the reports to supervisor for approval. But the employee is going to be able to see that right away to know that it has been routed for approval. Just like today, there's the approval chain here where the employee can take a look to see who this absence has routed to for approval. So you have this link today in absence management, and you're going to continue to have this in the future environment as well. So now we're going to jump into our live demonstration. So just like Kranti explained, the green cardinal is showing that this is our future environment, and my mouse is also green. So anytime my mouse is green or you see the green cardinal, you'll know that you are looking at the future environment. Today's environment is blue, and so anytime I'm demoing from this environment, you'll notice the blue cardinal there, and my mouse will also be blue. Just like Kranti showed you, we're going through the time tile, so I'm going to go ahead and go there. I want to point out a couple of things in the current environment before I jump into the future environment, just to kind of show you what we're going to be looking at. So today, you enter your absence event from the absence tab. And when you enter an absence event today, the date, the start and end date has to be within the dates that are seen or being displayed on the timesheet view. I know that has been painful for many of our users because they try to enter a future absence event and they get stopped because the absence is not falling within this date range. That is a change that's no longer going to hinder them. So that I think they're going to be really happy about. So I'll explain that a little bit more in the demo in just a second. But but that's one of the changes. Another change that I'm going to show you are the 3 places to review absence balances. Here under the absence tab, you can view the absence balances as of the last finalized period. And this is what you are familiar with. And then you also have over here the absence balances page where you're able to view the balances. Today, all we can do is just view these balances here on this page. And it lists them all. At the very bottom of this page, we do have the forecast balance. And this you'll also have in the future environment as well. So I'll show you that as well. And the comprehensive absence summary page, that's the 3rd place where absence balances can be viewed, and that there's been no changes to that. So let's jump over to our future environment. So again, we're still going to access that through the time tile. And we're going to come over to the manage absence. What I like about this page is, one, it's mobile friendly. So your employees will be able to enter their absence event from their phone or tablet as needed. Here you are able to see those 3 most recently entered absence events. This is not the most recent absences that are coming up. This is just what has been entered most recently. Here you can click the view all requests link, and that's going to take you to the view request page here. So whether you click here to view all of the absence events or you view here from the view request page, it's going to be the same. And then here we are to create a new request. So I'm going to enter my start day. So just like you do today, there's no change. You're going to enter the start day. So I'm going to enter for Thursday and Friday. I can either type in the dates, use the calendar icon, but I actually want to do 2 days. So I'm going to use this handy button here to just add one more day to my absence. So here I'm going to take 2 days off so that I can go do some volunteer work in the community. Once I've selected my absence name, then I'm going to click the Apply Absence button. What this is going to do is Cardinal is going to pull in those balance details as of the last leave period. So here, as of the last finalized period, I had 16 hours of volunteer service leave. That's what I'm wanting to take this week. I'm going to take 2 days off to do some volunteer work. And next, I need to select the reason. I'm going to select community service. It just like today, in the future, if you wanted to do partial days, you could select those partial day options. All days, end day only, non-start day, start and end days as appropriate, but I'm just going to take full days off. The next thing that we need to do is we need to check to make sure that I have the hours available as of 7/23. So I'm going to click the check eligibility. This is forecasting. This is taking a look and it's saying, yes, you are eligible. So just like I mentioned before, we're checking eligibility, but this is also forecasting. It's the same as today. So I get the same message that you're used to seeing today. I get that same message in the future saying that my forecast is successful and I can take those 2 days off. Now, this is what Kranti was mentioning a little bit earlier, and this is one of the enhancements that I'm really excited to that we have to share with you today. So you're going to get this pop-up message if the eligibility has changed. So what this message says is eligibility has changed for one or more existing absence requests. Please select the View Eligibility Details to display the status of the request. So when I checked my eligibility, I found out that I'm eligible to take these 2 days off this week. But if I use these 16 hours this week, then there's another absence event that is now ineligible. It was eligible, but now this absence is making it ineligible. So I can click the View Eligibility Details link to see what absence has now become ineligible. July 28th and July 29th, I had already planned to do some volunteer service next week. So let me explain this a little bit again. If the absence, the current absence that I entered for this week causes another absence to become ineligible, your users are going to get that pop-up message. Then they can take a look at the eligibility details to determine which absence event became ineligible. All right, if the employee uses leave that has absence balance that causes a future absence event to become ineligible, they're going to get this pop-up message. They will then need to look at the eligibility details by clicking the View Eligibility Details link to see which absence event has become ineligible. It is up to the employee then to go and make an adjustment. They could change the current absence event, or they could go and edit the future absence event, whatever is most appropriate. But I want to reiterate here, it is the employee's responsibility to make that adjustment. They are going to get this pop-up message, but it is just a warning. It does not stop them from being able to submit this absence event. This means that it's still important that supervisors, TL administrators, AM administrators are reviewing the ineligible absence query, running the docking unpaid absences report. It's those ineligible absences are still going to be showing up on those queries and reports. So, but this is just an enhancement to notify the employee before the TL admin or the supervisor is having to reach out to them. but it is still the responsibility of supervisors and admins to be reviewing those to follow up. Because once again, if I just close this out, I can still submit this absence event. Yes, I want to submit it. I get it submitted successfully. And that's how you enter the absence. Now, if I go to view requests, I can see that absence, that future absence is ineligible. This is another enhancement. This is another way that your employees can see that absences have become ineligible before you're having to follow up with them. And then we can see that my other absence event here is eligible. So I'm going to come back to this view request page in just a couple minutes, but I want to go to the cancel absences page and show you how to cancel these absence events. Like I said, employees can now cancel an absence event even if it's in approved status already. So this absence for next week that's now ineligible, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. So even though it's already approved, the employee can still cancel the absence. When you click on the absence, it's going to open up the details page. I can just enter a comment, and then if I want to, it's not required, but I can enter a comment and then I can click the cancel absence button. Are you sure you want to cancel this absence? Yes. And now I'm going to get that ribbon across the top that's letting me know that the absence request has been canceled. Then I can see the cancel status is submitted. It's going to route to my reports to supervisor for approval. And we can see that by clicking the approval chain or by going to the view requests. And here we'll see the cancel in progress. Once the reports to supervisor has approved the cancellation request, then it's going to update as canceled. So the employees will be able to see what status it's in by looking here at the view request. I did get a question if the ineligible details or the details link is going to show the partial hours if some hours are ineligible but some hours were paid. There is no change to that. So if only part of the absence event is ineligible, then they'll be able to see that on those eligibility details or check eligibility details link, just like they can today. So there's no change with that. Great, so now I want to take a quick review of the 3 places that you can view absence balances. So the first one is on the timesheet. And the reason that I want to point this out is because there is a change and it's more user-friendly now, which we are very excited about. So when you click the absences tab, it is going to open up the balances. They're going to appear below, similarly to how they do today. But today, it's just a list of the balances. In the future environment, you can select the leave type. So let's take a look at vacation. And these balances are as of the last finalized period. Again, this is one of our testing environments. And so the last finalized period is January 10th, 2026. But that's just because this is one of our non-production environments. So the balances are going to be as of whatever's the last finalized period. But the nice thing about this page now and the update is that it includes the opening balances, the accrual, what has been earned, and what's been taken in each leave period. So here you'll be able to see, and as we scroll down, we can see a little bit more of the changes. So the pay period ending November 9th, this employee, Justin, has an opening balance of 323.7 hours, earned or accrued 8 hours of vacation, and took 13.5 hours. If there was a balance adjustment, you would be able to see that here under adjustment. So this is a great enhancement that I think both you will enjoy, but also your employees are going to enjoy, because it makes it a lot easier to find whatever balance they are looking for by just selecting. The next page is the absence balances page. And when we initially come here, you're going to say, oh, it looks exactly like it does today. And it does. Initially, it does. It looks so much like what you currently have. But this page has also been enhanced, because now if you click on one of these, on one of the leave types, it opens up the balance details page. So now you have all of those same balance details on the absence balances page that you're able to see on the future absence tab as well. And here you can just flip between absence types and review all of those details right here. This is also as of the last finalized period. I'm going to close out of the balance details page because I want to show you. Sometimes it's missed, so I always like to bring your attention to this. At the very bottom of the absence balances page is that forecast balance section, just like it is today. So there's no change in how this forecast balance section works on the absence balances page from today, from the current environment and the future environment. This is really helpful for employees as leave year end is approaching, and they want to make sure that they are using any available vacation and they're not forfeiting their hours. So this works the same in the future as it does today. The third place we talked about, there's 3 places to review balances. And the third place is the comprehensive absence summary page. And there are no changes to this page at all. This works exactly the same way today for your employees as it will in the future. Again, they can see their balances on this page as of the last finalized period, or they can look at the estimated balance, and the estimated is going to be for the current open period, and those balances are as of the last time the absence calculation process has run, and that runs every night. So there's no changes to this. But just as a reminder, supervisors, TL administrators, and absence management administrators all have access to run the employee leave report, and that report shows the same information that's available on this self-service page, and that report can be run as of the last finalized period, or it can be run as of the current open period. So the same data is available through using the employee leave report. You also have access as admins and supervisors to the results by calendar pages. And so those are some of the online pages. I'm not demoing those pages today because there's no changes from the current environment to the future environment. But just as a reminder, you do have those online pages as well to view the current or the balances as of the current open calendar. So those were all of the absence things that I wanted to, all of the absence enhancements that I wanted to draw your attention to today. So now I'm going to turn it over to Dana, I think maybe for some
Yep. Susie, one final, comment for y'all. And I think both Susie and, Crumpy did mention this, but if we didn't talk about it, it's probably not changing. We really focused on changes as a result of the upgrade. And as they mentioned, it's mostly look and feel as opposed to processing. But if you do have an enhancement request for functionality that is not changing, you can always submit a ticket for consideration at any time. I mean, keeping in mind right now that we are in the midst of an upgrade and really not doing other enhancements right now, but they do get put on a list for future consideration. I'm hoping we've got 10 minutes left that we can take a few more questions. So I'm going to turn it over to Jolene real quick.
Great. So Susie, we're going to go back to a question that was asked earlier, related to if somebody enters an absence on, let's say today, and then they cancel it, can they go back and enter another absence on the same day?
So that is similar to how it is today. Instead of entering a new absence for that same day, you would need to edit the existing absence event.
Okay. There was some questions around how far people could go back to edit absences. So maybe we can talk a little bit about that.
Yes, to answer that question, there's no change to the grace period for employees or administrators. Employees continue to have the 90-day access, and TL administrators, AM administrators continue to have 1 year access.
All right. Is taken only shown up once it's approved, or will it show once the employee has entered it, regardless of whether they submitted or whether they have approval?
Sure. So I think you're referring to the taken where when I was demoing on the absence tab. And just a reminder, those absences are all as of the last finalized period. So in order to be calculated or displayed there, the absence would have to have been, or the taken absence would have to have been approved and processed previously, the same as it is today. Those are as of the last finalized period.
All right, this might be a little redundant, but are they going to be able to cancel past leave slips?
Yes. So they, again, the employees will be able to cancel those approved absences from the past, but it does need that canceled absence is going to route to the reports to supervisor for approval. And that's when it is the responsibility of the supervisor, if they do not feel it's appropriate for that absence to be canceled, that they would need to work with the supervisor to take whatever action needs to be taken to adequate or appropriately represent their leave and time in Cardinal.
In that scenario, if there's a supervisor change on that backdated, how's that going to work?
It's going to route to whoever is the current reports to supervisor at the time that that cancellation is submitted. So anytime, and this is true for time and absences, when something is routed to the supervisor, reports to supervisor for approval, it's routing to whoever is in the reports to position at that current time, not at the date of the retro absence, if that made sense.
All right. We just have a few minutes left. Kranti, Susie, anything else you want to add?
Just as a reminder, all of the job aids that are currently available are going to be available. They're all being updated. They're all going to be available with the updated screenshots and steps. So all of the current resources that you have are going to be available in the future as well. And we will be pushing out additional materials and newsletters and communications to keep you informed. And we look forward to seeing you on August 12th for some additional enhancements and exciting new things that we have to share with you.
If you do think of anything else that needs to be brought to our attention, please again feel free to open a Cardinal ticket and we will reach back to you.
Thank you for attending today. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.